Good evening, girls. Video call doesn't seem to work for today, so we are left with the only option to record the video lectures and then circulate. So I request you all to have a look on these videos, take down the points, make your own notes. You will be provided with the hard copy as well as soft copy for this unit, as we are going to begin with the middle adulthood today, that is your unit 3. However, I'll be providing you the soft copy as soon as possible and the hard copy of the same when we meet. Till then, we have to rely on these videos and we have to cover them, so as that will not be causing you any problem in your exams. So let's talk about few points which are required for you to take down as the video classes begin. So make sure you have your pen and paper along with you. So as I explain, you please make down few points, jot it down, and as you are referring with your textbook, that would be helpful for you to frame your answers, which are much simpler form, when compared to the textbook answers, the paragraphs in the textbook. So in that idea, I would like to tell you this, that whatever is written on the board would be provided to you either in the form of PDFs or the photographs just after the class or just after you receive the videos. So those points which are jotted down on the board would help you to understand and frame your own answers. So I have just jotted down them in terms of points, but then you can use the helping verbs to frame the sentences, so that makes a complete answer. So without much delay, let's begin with the chapter. Unit 3, Middle Ages, Introduction. So you all are not new to this concept of ages. We have been studying about the ages since our first class. So we were talking about the puberty, adolescence, early adulthood. Now we are talking about the middle adulthood, or you can say middle ages. So you all must have a pretty good idea about what middle ages would be, right? So initially, the puberty runs for the age from 13 to 19, those teenage years, and then we talk about the early adulthood, which lasts from 20 years to 40 years. So naturally, middle adulthood would be after 40. So we talk about 40 to 60 or to extended 65 years. So beginning with the introduction, so you have until a recent time, middle age is the area which was least studied. So you could say that, middle age is a kind of era which has been least prioritized. Your priority for this age is very minimum. We gave much emphasis for the adolescence, that is the age of puberty, or you have given much importance for the early adulthood. As we studied this ages in terms of our topics, we had a very much in-depth study on this. Even the syllabus says so. So when you look at your syllabus, you could have very good idea that the adolescence, the unit 1, which talks about the puberty, overall development, both psychological, social, cognitive, and the physical development. It has very big and very elaborated syllabus. It talks about many things at a time. So it is a stage where the time period is very small. It goes only for 7 to 8 years. Whereas the need to develop is very high. You are changing both physically, both mentally, that is cognitively. You are changing in terms of your social relationships. You're changing in every aspect. You're blooming as a person. You're there to, you're creating your own personality, how it sounds, how it seems to be in a society. You're mingling with people. You're out. You're ready to be a complete adult. You're on your way for progress. And when you reach your 20s, ideally 20s to 40, that is the early adulthood. So this early adulthood definitely brings you the responsibility. Even there you have a life change, you have a career, your schooling has completed, your schooling, you have crossed your school ages, you have completed your studies. Now you have entered into an era of career making. You are out for your jobs. Then you step into a married life. So you have much more responsibility. You need to take care of your parents, your spouse, your children. So many things comes into picture. Whereas the middle age, which was from the earlier times, was less prioritized, was given a very little importance and emphasis. Can you all think about it? Why is it so? Why didn't we give much importance or preference for this area or this age of human life? Maybe this must be because people in this time and this age was just a continuous flow of what they have been doing. So when we look at our parents, what are they doing right now? So they were doing same thing from the time when we were growing. They take care of us. They take care of their parents. They are going for job. They are back home. They are cooking. They are basically monitoring everything. Their lifestyle is packed. Their life is totally packed. There is no room for something else than what we find in our life. So we have many things, right? We have a different aspect for life. We look at the society in a very different manner. But then their life is completely packed, jammed, and they're just into the full swing of whatever they had been doing for so many long years. Maybe this is the reason why people had not given much importance for the middle age as such. And when we talk about the statistics, when we talk about the research, when we look into this as psychology being a scientific study, we have to look for the research findings, which says that, as it talks about the American statistics, it says that by year 2015, so it's past 5 years now. So it's by the year 2015 in America alone, there were 80 million population who belong to middle ages. So you can find out, you can make out from this statistics that most of the population in America they fall under middle age. So you have such a huge number in America alone. So when it comes to the whole world, you can see many people of this age. So now you can have a pretty much idea that people in this age are growing. There are many in number. So when there are many people, so then the need for concern, you need to pay a little more concern about them, because the population of this age is growing. We need to know about them, their lifestyle, and psychology, not just in terms of developmental psychology. We have positive psychology. It has to deal with the welfare and development of each individual at every stage. So as we progress, as we age, each age brings in pretty much hardship, along with different psychological and emotional changes, different biological changes within us. And this is all natural. It's all completely normal. But then how we deal with it? So I am in my adolescence, so I'll be stepping into adulthood. When I step into adulthood, there is completely a different version of me. I have much more responsibilities. I have much more things to do rather than just acting like an adolescent, right? Similarly, as an adult steps out to be an middle-aged guy or girl or middle-aged person in general, so how would he or she feel at that point of time? So the responsibility changes, definitely. Maybe you will not find the line between. There is nothing that divides the two ages, but then you go with the flow. You just synchronize yourself. You just gel with it. It's just a simple flow. So you can't just say that, when you say that you cannot differentiate, that doesn't mean that there are no much huge changes there. But there exists. So concern, the focus on this group is also pretty very much important. But as we told, there were no much emphasis given for this people who belong to this age group. then why all of a sudden the concern has changed? Why do we have a different attitude, different opinion now? Why are we trying to find out the life of these people who belong to this age group? What is the necessity then? Before looking into that, so with this question in our mind, let's focus on how this term emerged. So the term middle age came into existence, use in Europe as well as in US, United States, around the turn of 20th century. So the term is not really new. It's in the 20th century. It's around 1900s the term emerged. So we'll be talking about this term. So we have 100 years of study, history at least, when it started gaining its importance. So this was introduced into the society of, maybe when you talk about introduced into the society during 20th century, you talk about people who were interested in studying human development. You can say those psychologists of that time. You can also understand that the philosophers, the medical team, you can address in different ways. So it's about that time, particularly 20th century, early 1900s, when this term emerged, where people started to think about middle ages only because one and the utmost idea that the life expectancy of a human being started increasing during that age. So you can date back the earlier times when people used to hardly live for 60 years. So we were talking about, say, as this is time of corona, we all know there was a time when there was a plague, which was in its outbreak in the Europe. So life expectancy was really, really short. So people would hardly live for 45 to 50 years then. So in that, the middle age was nowhere attained. Middle adulthood was never attained. People died either in their early adulthood or when they stepped into their middle adulthood. And later comes the late adulthood. However, when you are not able to put across your middle ages, there is no point of reaching the late adulthood. So with that idea, people did not even get a thought of middle ages. But then with 20th century, with the emergence of 20th century and the interest for it during the 20th century, the term itself, the middle adulthood, emerged, and the interests of people in this direction was focused. So as we said initially, that this area was given less importance. What do people even today in India and other parts of the Western countries think about middle ages? So I have jotted down few points, that is ideas about middle age in few upper class of Hindus and people from Kenya. They do not believe in the concept of middle age. They do not say that middle age is being a state between the young adulthood and the old age. They do not find it as something which is sandwiched between the two ages. So it's something normal. They do not give much importance to that, and they don't think there doesn't find any significant difference between these two. It's just a continuous flow. You need not focus on this. You need not emphasize on this. That's what they believe in. So then there are also few people in India who think differently. So people in India and Japan believe that it is a social process involving relationship and roles rather than in terms of chronological or biological changes. So in India and few parts of Japan, few Indians and Japanese think in different terms. They do not see it as a biological or chronological difference. They do not emphasize this as we are maturing biologically, we are changing in terms of our physical activities or our physical appearance, but it is purely a socialization process. Of course, socialization is part of every human being. We've looked into this even during the puberty and adolescence. We were talking about it even during the early adulthood. Now we are here to talk about the same in the middle adulthood. But then they have just given the importance for the socialization. They only look into the terms of socialization, as if when I grow as an adult, when I have to behave in a different way. When I grow as an adult who is little more older to the adult, that is when we talk about the middle ages, when I have attained my middle ages, I have to behave in a different way. And when I reach my retirement age, when the old adulthood begins, I have to behave in a very different way than how I used to behave. This is almost completely emphasized and blocked in terms of the relationship scenario rather than the physiological or chronological, and they believe age is just a number. But socialization, the process of interacting with people, must go in a smoother way. So other than that, the emphasis of today's generation on middle ages has taken place because of the modern science, medical and nutritional advances. So we all talk about the good health, we all talk about different, we all talk about this kind of lifestyle which we need to build up. We need to create a healthy lifestyle, we need to practice yoga, meditation, exercise. We need to take care of the calories, we need to take care of the nutrition. We are talking about this, and most of the problems and most of the diseases, lifestyle diseases, are highly focused during middle ages. And this is very crucial time, and you could see most of the population in India is suffering from obesity, heart problem, cardiac arrest, diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol. So these things are common. These things are very much common during middle ages. But however, it begins in the adulthood, the early adulthood. The focus is on the when it comes to the main picture, it is during the middle adulthood. However, this modern medical science, that is the nutrition specialists, have given a much emphasis on the topic of middle ages. This has developed unpredicted second half of life in developed societies. So this is the byproduct of developed societies rather than the developing societies or the developing country. So when it comes to developed societies, they give much emphasis on this. They have pretty much available equipments for modern lifestyle. So this is how they give preference for that. And anxiety about physical and other losses. So you are anxious during this time about your own health. You are anxious about much more things in your life. So it basically deals with that. This seems to be a popular description of middle age. When you talk about middle ages, generally anxiety of aging, anxiety of disease, anxiety of lifestyle, all this comes into picture, and it seems to be like almost half of your life is gone. You never know if you are able to get the other complete half. So it's just a half of your life you have been doing so much of things in your life. So it's just that description of a middle age. So coming back to the chronological understanding of middle ages, so we had pretty much good idea by now that puberty starts from 12 to 19, then the early adulthood starts from 20 to 40. So we have the middle adulthood, that is from 40 to 65 years. 40 to 60, extended 5 years, that is 65 years as per Human Development textbook. So you can have a definition of middle adulthood. You can define it as in terms of 2 points. Basically, middle age is a time, it's not a definition as such, but then you will have a pretty much idea of what middle age is. So middle age is a time period where a person who is in his middle age would be living with the elderly parent and with growing up children. So this is the ideal scenario where you find that a person who is in his middle age would be living with his elderly parent or with the growing up child. But this cannot be true always. This need not be true always. With changing lifestyle, most of the people who are in their middle ages, either they are raising their young children, maybe just by the age 40, 45, a man or a woman must be raising their young children who are in just 10 standards or 7 standards due to late marriage and many other aspects. As we aspire for career, we delay our marriage and we have a delayed children. So it's natural. We need not have grown up children as such, or you can say that there are people who might have grown up children and they have just left the home. That's what we talk about, the empty nest. They have completely grown up children and they have left their home for their job, career, or just they are living separately from their parents. This can also be possible, or else they are just seeing their children grow. Or with today's society, you can also say that there must be people in their middle ages with no children. This is completely their choice. So this is a complete understanding of what middle age is all about. This was an introductory chunk. So when we talk about what is middle age, its meaning, when it begins, so you have to cover all these points. So you'll be provided with the copy of this, whatever is on the board, so you'll be getting that. And other than that, we'll be continuing with the same, that is, we'll look into the physical development and the sexual development during the middle adulthood.